intercept of Tropical Storm Nicholas. And I'm looking at radar, and it looks like it's trying to reform a center off to the north right now. I'm dropping in to deploy the subsonic sensors near the coastline. Boy, looking just northeast or maybe even east of Corpus. Oh wow, it does look quite intense. Definitely coupling with the convection. That outer core is already starting to arrive. I think it's going to be a Category 1 hurricane coming up here pretty soon, so hopefully we have time to deploy. I think we will, coming up here in Matagorda first, and we're going to deploy that network of surginators across the Gulf Coast. It's definitely feeding off the warm water out there, greater than 30 degrees Celsius, 31 plus. And the wind shear is starting to relax also. So I think that this thing's going to continue to intensify. Who knows what the ceiling is? I'm sure some of you might have seen on my last live stream on Facebook, I was involved in an accident. Somebody hydroplaned and slammed into my vehicle. Thankfully everybody was okay. And the chase resumes. And look at some of that blue sky. That's some of the dry slot, mid-level dry slot that's trying to knife into the western side of the storm, but it's starting to overwhelm that now. And it's going to gradually become more symmetric all the way up until landfall. And I'm heading south toward the coastline. I'm going to deploy a network of surginators. They've got new firmware and everything too. We were up very late last night. Mark was working on that. So they're going to be streaming live data to teamdomdata.com. Woo! I've been up since about 4 or 5 in the morning. Gotta stay hydrated. Up with Mike Scanlon right now. The Scanman. Also, Fahad is coming down from Houston to help out in our deployment. And I think it's going to be a Category 1 Hurricane Nicholas. Maybe coming in a little bit earlier than anticipated too. Maybe even landfall tonight through tomorrow morning. Beautiful out here, beautiful countryside. I'm going to be streaming live through landfall periodically, so be sure to check into my channel. I like to ride these things out in my vehicle. I'll be on the lookout for tornadoes, flash floods, hurricanes, storm surge, live data, you name it. Beautiful out here, isn't it? Kind of east side of the Texas Hill Country, coming into the coastal plain, I guess. You don't want to mess up the regions of Texas, though, or people will flip out. I can tell you that from personal experience. So I'm trying to get this network of surginator sensors deployed. And we have 3 or 4 of them. I saw that one of the cords, though, is damaged, so I'm a little bit worried about that. And we got to get them deployed before the storm surge comes in. Once again, I'm flying in by the seat of my pants. Should already have these deployed, but I always like to come in at the last second to deploy the network. and then ride it out in my vehicle. So you guys can really experience the raw conditions firsthand. Like you're riding in my passenger seat. Okay. Text messages are common and fast. What's the temperature? 79. And you can definitely see you're in a tropical environment because the low-level clouds are moving really fast. But we definitely do have that dry air aloft. Look at the mid-levels, blue sky, and that's going to carve out half of this storm likely. It's going to be one of those tilted asymmetric storms when it comes in, if I had to guess. 9.2 miles, that would take the left. Right. Update. Tropical Storm Nicholas organizing over the warm waters of the western Gulf of Mexico. 32 degrees Celsius surface temperatures, and I'm blasting south to deploy the Surgeonator network. Meeting up with Mike Scanlon. Bahad is coming down, and we're going to be deploying a network of 3, maybe 4 Surgeonator sensors. I'm a little bit worried though because I saw some cable damage back there behind me, so a little bit concerned about that. Beautiful blue skies. So this dry air that's coming into the mid-levels of the atmosphere is kind of carving this storm in half a little bit, giving it a little bit of a tilt. It's experiencing some southwest and northeast oriented wind shear. But that's forecast to relax through landfall, and sea surface temperatures are really warm in the western Gulf of Mexico, so you can never underestimate a storm like this. Tornado potential, flash floods, river flooding, storm surge, maybe 4 to 5 feet. So we got to get the Surgeonator network deployed, streaming live data, and then intercept this, because I do think it's going to be a hurricane, Category 1 hurricane coming up here, Hurricane Nicholas. It's kind of a good scientific exercise here, test of the Surgeonators. Starting to get a little windy. sunny though, underneath that mid-level clear slot. Just got a text from my mom asking if I experienced any jolt during the accident. No, I'm totally fine. Doing good. No pain. Zero pain. I have such high pain tolerance anyway. I'm always zero pain. Just glad everybody was okay. Pretty low speed. I wasn't going very fast. Sometimes the frame rate of those live streams can make it look like I'm going a lot faster, but right now I'm going 60, for example. But it looks like I'm going faster because of the frame rate. There's a hurricane watch, so right now it's Tropical Storm Nicholas, but it does have the potential to intensify and become Category 1 Hurricane Nicholas, and who knows, maybe even stronger than that. If that wind shear goes away and it has a little bit more time over water, then it could certainly even become stronger, but last that I checked, it's a hurricane watch and not a hurricane warning. Bluebonnet Lane, nice. Texas bluebonnets. Yeah, swallowed down the wrong hole. Yeah, I can see it going anywhere from. Still the forecast tracks kind of over Matagorda Bay, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes a little bit east of there even. Definitely an east side loaded storm. The rain's going to extend way all the way to southwestern Louisiana, in fact. It's going to be a big time mega rain producer, big flood event. Yeah, this is way too nice of a car for me to be in. And unfortunately now it has some damage in the front right. Yep, so right now I've got 3 Surginators that I can deploy, and that data is going to be streaming live too, which is good news. Nice test of the live data. Probably going to be 2 to 4 feet of storm surge, so I don't expect a big time storm surge. But if it becomes a hurricane, then we could be talking 4 or 5 feet with waves on top of it. That's definitely a deadly storm surge, coastal flooding, tornado threat. Big flooding's going to happen with this. Foot and a half of rain, probably wherever those big feeder bands end up training over the same areas. You can never underestimate the power of warm rain processes. Big time rainfall rates in these tropical systems. beautiful out here. Oh yeah, Lake Charles will get a lot of water. Eating a lot of Vienna sausages, a lot of Chef Boyardee during this trip. You know how it goes. Nice U-turn there. I think I gotta take a right.
At the stop sign, turn right onto Irvine Street.
Yep.
To Westmore Street.
I saw a wedge down here once. With my good friend Aaron Rupert. We were chasing down here at night using weather radio. And over the weather radio, it said there's a large, extremely dangerous tornado confirmed at the town of Edna, which was our location.
To Westmore Street.
And we were flipping out. Northerly inflow jet was ramping up. Winds were gusting like 70, 80 miles an hour. And we never actually got visual of the tornado, but it was totally wrapped in rain. And back then, you didn't have continuous radar either, so you were just kind of going by NOAA weather radio reports and your sense of wind direction, storm structure, which we didn't know very much back then.
Continue straight.
This was kind of early in our careers, like early 2000s, late 90s. Edna was the name of the Edna, Texas, down there, southern hill country. Alrighty, stand by. I'll be back. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. You think Matagorda is a good spot to deploy? Matagorda Bay? Hello? Did you see that person hit me back there? It's probably the most intense thing that's going to happen during this storm. Hello? Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, did you see that accident? On my Facebook Live? Holy cow. Alright, I'll have to call you back. Peace. It says 55. So northeasterlies. I think one of my first spots to deploy will be near Matagorda, but I'll probably work northeast, maybe from there. Try to make these a little bit more widely spaced than what I had time for during Ida. Right now I'm dropping southeast, probably about 50 miles from the coast. I'm in between San Antonio and Matagorda right now, and I'm trying to deploy the Surgeonator network. That's my game plan. We've got 3 different sensors that we're going to deploy, and those will live stream storm surge depth based on the pressure weight of the water. They'll have a station aloft that measures air temperature, barometric pressure. So, welcome. I'm going to be live streaming through landfall, so definitely stay tuned. Just swallowed down the wrong hole a little bit ago. Hello, Jojo. Hi, everybody. Starting to get rainfall now in the very outer bands, and kind of that outer precipitation shield, outer shield of convection is already starting to come ashore. And it looks like to me like Houston's going to get absolutely hammered. Beautiful countryside out here, South Central Texas. I expect winds probably gust 90, maybe even 100 miles an hour, 4 or 5 foot storm surge. Worst case, tornadoes, flash flooding, river flooding, storm surge flooding. Might swamp the rental. You never know. Hopefully not. I'm not going to try to. But look at some of those low clouds off the distance. Already starting to see the condensation associated with that outer core. I'm going to show you guys what it's like to be right in the middle of the storm in a vehicle, just like I did Hurricane Ida. This one's probably going to be Category 1 hurricane. Maybe a little stronger than that. You never know these days with water temperatures, 31, 32 degrees Celsius. It's not looking like a tornado threat right now. Outside temperature is about 75 degrees, so it's not too unstable right now. Low-level lapse rates are not that steep. But I do expect the tornado threat to increase with some of those main convective bands, feeder bands. Yeah, this is going to be a long duration event, so it's not going to be very extreme until we get close to the center of the hurricane, which is probably going to be at the earliest late night tonight, tomorrow morning, depending on how far east it goes. I honestly haven't had much time to look at things. just what people are sending me. I've had to prep these surginators, travel down here the last second. Now we got to deploy. Had to get like 15 Gorilla Tape rolls. Pump out some AccuWeather updates, and here I am, and that accident happened. You can almost see the curvature of the clouds though right now. Stop sign coming up. I think. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see it upgraded to a hurricane warning, if it isn't already, in fact. I haven't really looked at anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if it already has been upgraded. There'll be a storm surge warning, 2 to 4 foot surge, maybe 5 feet if it does intensify into a hurricane. Hurricane Nick. It's already flooding. Wow. Yeah, I think it's a tropical storm now. I'm just wondering about the hurricane warning. I think it's a hurricane watch. So definitely the biggest risk is going to be heavy rain from this thing. Yeah, I think the next update is supposed to be 70, right? 70 miles an hour. Yeah, Houston floods bad, and with 10 to 15 inches of rain, it's going to be big problems. You know, Harvey, 40 to 50 inches of rain, you're not going to see something like that, but foot and a half of rain is going to cause big problems no matter where it happens. And Houston is kind of prone to flash flooding. I did cover Hurricane Harvey down here. First in Rockport, where it made landfall. Then worked our way up toward Houston, including all the tornado warnings. Dozens of tornado warnings. Testing out some of the self-driving functions on this rental car. They're pretty awesome. You can actually sense the edges of the lanes, and if you deviate from it, I think that uses LiDAR technology, and it does it right, it just gives you an alert. So that's something to know. It doesn't automatically fix the steering, but I have seen rental cars that already will fix the steering if you start to deviate from the lane. Apparently we're a long way off from like pure self-driving. Rentals? Well, they're helping out with science, that's for sure. So go Avis. Sponsoring Team Dominator Science. Nice work. I did sustain a little damage in that accident earlier to the front right bumper, but the car is fine, definitely drivable. That's nothing compared to what's going to happen here once this hurricane comes in. So it'll probably float away. Hopefully not. I'll keep out of the flood areas. This there to deploy the Surgeonator and then get out of the flood zone. Dominator 4 is in the shop until the end of the week, so it needs to get a new exhaust header, new front tire because of all the punctures that were sustained during Hurricane Ida. Look a little bit tilted, doesn't it? So it tries to form a center, and then it's just not really able to. Well, it looks pretty good on Corpus radar. Man, it looks like it's wobbling back northwest. I can just wrap that convection all the way around. Probably. Gators out there, everybody. Thank you for joining Team Dominator live intercept of this hurricane. Well, tropical storm right now, but I do anticipate it strengthening into a Category 1 hurricane. So that's just what happens over the Gulf of Mexico when it's so warm. Passing over the Lavaca River right now. Beautiful part of the country down here. East of San Antone. Heading southeast toward the coast, maybe deploy the network of Surgeonators from Matagorda and off to deploy arenas. Yeah, hopefully this thing stays west of southeastern Louisiana because we don't need any rain there. All the roof damage, home damage already from Hurricane Ida. Any outer bands, any rainfall that falls into that, it's obviously not going to be welcome. I got a longer drive than I thought I did down to the coast. We're about to deploy a network of storm surge sensors, Surgeonators, basically live streaming storm surge sensors that measure the depth of the water, waves on top of it, salinity, water temperature, air temperature, and barometric pressure. And streams all that information live as it's happening during the storm. Like a pretty small tropical cyclone, definitely. Yeah, I got floaters, big time floaters. Or coastal point. Woo! Smells good outside. Temperature is 77 degrees. Went through another rain band closer to San Antonio, and that's where that accident happened. Somebody hydroplaned, hit my vehicle. That just shows you how dangerous hydroplaning is. But thankfully the rental is still drivable. And the chase goes on. Boomer Sooner. Hello? Just kind of a warm stream. I don't expect conditions to really deteriorate until a bit later on this evening. Man, swallow that water down the wrong hole. Yeah, I agree. I'll be okay. Yeah, I'll be driving in the eye wall on this one too. See how intense it gets. Drove in the eye wall of Michael and also Laura so far. So my car has been through, what, 2 Cat 4s and a Cat 5. Yeah, the sun's out here. A lot of dry air kind of coming in on the western side of the storm. It's a pretty small storm, but slow moving, heavy rain producer. The immediate coastline's already getting heavy rain. That wind shear relaxes, and that convective blob is definitely going to be able to wrap all the way around the storm. It does look a lot more organized. Man, just inhaled half of this bottle of water, I think. I'm gonna drown before I get to the storm. I think the Dominator 4 has better acceleration. Yeah, I think anywhere, probably Matagorda Bay up toward Houston is going to be the heaviest rain, even up towards southwestern Louisiana. Maybe 10 to 15 inches of rain. So big time rainmaker, big problems in that respect. River flooding, flash flooding, storm surge flooding are going to be an issue. Just your good old fashioned low end storm surge, but big time rainfall. Deadly flash flooding, river flooding. Right now, the forecast model is showing not even close to what Harvey was at. Was 40, 50 inches of rain during Harvey in Houston. This one looks about 10 to 15 inches of rain. Both cause big problems, though. But you can never really compare to those really historic storms like Hurricane Harvey and it was a Tropical Storm Harvey in Houston. Dozens of tornado warnings, too. Yeah, I did get in an accident earlier, but we got to move in to deploy. Just exchanged insurance information, and now I'm on my way southeast. The vehicle, rental car, is still drivable. Some structural damage in the front right of the car, but nothing too bad. Flooding could be bad later. Flooding's always a big problem. Some kind of a rodeo. Beep, 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 beep. So we got a Mickey D's up here, folks. Looks like we got a Mickey D's. Yeah, the alignment does feel a little off. It's drives a little bit different than my Dominator 4. It's windy too, and this thing's higher profile, so it is kind of getting a little wiggly in the wind. Wiggle it just a little bit. Yeah, my Subaru isn't quite as sensitive. It's not as high profile. But then again, when I had those gas stations on those gas cans on the roof, it was the wind was really grabbing on the top of the vehicle. Felt like it was going to roll many times, making that crazy noise. Probably going to get gas up here at the Shell. We always got to be gas conscious. Full of gas. There's Mickey D's. Drink a lot of water, trying to stay ultra hydrated.
Turn right onto North Wells Street.
Final push now to deployment. A little early for the live stream, but figured I'd show you guys that it's not all fun and games out here. That woman thought I was talking to myself. Da 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 dee. Okay. So now I'm meeting up with Mike, the Scant Man, and we are going to deploy. One-way ticket to deployment. Got a Red Bull. Should get me more fired up too. It's been a long day already. Do need to get some batteries up here. One thing I forgot.
Turn right onto South Wall Street.
Let me see if he has them.
For 35 miles, continue straight. Stay in the left lane.
Yep. The Edna Wedge was the one. The Edna Wedge. That was that wedge I was telling you about on radio. It said the large, dangerous, destructive tornado heading toward Edna. And south of Edna, a couple miles, and that's exactly where Aaron and I were, on a dirt road. Inflow jet, wedge wrapped in rain, broken weather radio coming through saying large destructive tornado heading for Etna. We're flipping out, not sure if we should move or we're sitting ducks. The wind was so strong we could barely drive in it. Probably stronger than when I drove in the eye wall of Hurricane Ida here recently. even the small storms need to be studied, and sometimes these small storms can be big-time rain producers, and they can become mega disasters that are some of the costly and impactful in the history of the U.S. are these flash flood disasters, and they come from slow-moving, not necessarily strong hurricanes, but sometimes tropical storms, tropical depressions will do it. Starting to see the very outer bands of this storm already. Man, it looks like the shear is tearing it apart again. Sure looks like it's undergoing one of those transitions where the center will try to couple with the convection, try to wrap convection around it, and then the wind shear just decouples it from the convection, and then it reforms the center further off to the east. And that's exactly what it looks like is happening there with these latest radar scans. Check the tire real quick, and I need to look for these batteries. Hopefully I remembered them. Got the surginators. I got them. Thank goodness, I got the batteries. So I've got these two surginator sensors that are going to measure micro pressure inside the tropical storm, maybe a Category 1 hurricane. And then I've also got these special batteries that are for the surginator sensors. Make them run extra long and can measure those long duration storm surge events. So it's going to be tricky, though, to kind of pinpoint the center, but one thing with a storm like this with storm surge is that storm surge is likely to be near the center and east of the center, extending a long ways. Wherever you get that onshore flow, you're going to be talking about a 2 to 4 foot storm surge, maybe even a 5-footer. If this strengthens up to a Category 1 hurricane, then you're going to be talking about a 4 or 5 foot storm surge. But either way, you don't necessarily want to split hairs on it. Hello? to see some cloud bases up ahead too. I think that's some of the very outer bands with this deal. We're starting to see the very outer bands of Tropical Storm Nicholas. It was trying to wrap convection around the center, and I thought maybe it was making a run potentially at a Category 1 hurricane, but then the wind shear tore apart the center, decoupled it from the convection, and now it looks like it's going to form another one further to the northeast. It's cycling like a cyclic supercell right now. The low-level center will form, decouple from the convection, then a new center will form just off to the northeast. And it looks like it's about to do that again. The current center is now exposed due to southwesterly wind shear with that upper level low, that over northern Mexico. It's a very subtle feature, but it's enough to cause about 30 knots westerly shear in the mid-levels of the troposphere. But it's supposed to relax as this is approaching the coast, so there is a chance that it'll intensify and make a run at a Category 1 hurricane. But either way, there's going to be life-threatening conditions. Flash flooding, river flooding, storm surge flooding, getting big northeasterlies here already. I think we're about to see one of those outer bands up ahead. Almost the inner core of the system here. Just ahead of us, nice band. Nice motion in the clouds too, left to right motion. And I'm about 45 minutes from deploying the first Surgeonator sensor. The worst of the conditions probably coming in late night tonight. But it is kind of tricky to pinpoint exactly where the biggest surge is going to happen because it keeps reforming its center further northeast. Looks like that southwesterly shear is exposing the low-level center, and now the deepest convection is just northeast of it, and that's where the new center is going to form, almost like a cyclic supercell. Some light rain falling here. East Texas 111 right now. About 50 miles from the first subsonic or first Surgeonator deployment. Right, it looks like. Also got to watch for little tornadoes, maybe spin up tornadoes, quick ones. These outer bands, little supercell structures that might be able to develop. I do think Houston's going to potentially have some big flash flood problems from this storm. of a drier continental air mass, and definitely a tropical one. Beyond this, I expect the dew point to rise. We're pretty far south though, so I mean this is basically a tropical environment across the board. Very moist down here, temperature 79 degrees. Deep convection is evident on satellite, but it's just a little decoupled from the low-level center. It's got a little bit of tilt to it because of that southwesterly shear. But anywhere near and to the east of where the center comes in, there's going to be a 2 to 4 foot surge, maybe even 5 feet. If this strengthens into a Category 1 hurricane, and then after it meanders through eastern Texas, that's when the river flooding and flash flooding is going to be an issue. Somebody's going to get 10 to 15 inches of rain, and it's going to be over a large footprint from basically the bay, Redfin Point, all the way up through Houston, Lake Charles. Looks like that's going to be the bullseye for rain. A mega flood event. Looks likely tornadoes, big flash flooding, slow-moving tropical system meandering through eastern Texas. Boy, they don't need any more heavy rainfall in the damaged areas by Hurricane Ida up in southeastern Louisiana, but I know that there's already been some rain down there in Houma last night, causing more problems with those damaged roofs out there. Motion isn't as fast as it was during Hurricane Ida when everything was just whipping and racing. We'll definitely see it increase the speed of the cloud movement as the storm gets a little bit closer. But we're still pretty far removed from this one, and it's a weaker tropical cyclone, less slight of a pressure gradient. I think last time I saw the minimum pressure was down to pretty close to about 1,000 millibars, maybe a little bit higher than that. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to look at any information because I've been getting down here. It's been taking me forever just to get in position. See some heavier rain a little closer to the coast where we're starting to deploy. Gizmo's not down here at her age. She does do hurricanes though. She's been in a Category 5 hurricane. Hurricane Michael back in the day. I think southwestern Louisiana looks like the bullseye. Going to be in the northeastern part of the bullseye, the heaviest rain. Definitely east of center. You can definitely see the tilt of this system on satellite from the low-level center up through where the convection and the heaviest rain is falling. rougher than that I-10 between San Antonio and Houston. That's a dangerous stretch of road right there, especially when you get a little bit of rainfall on it. It's notorious for hydroplaning. I-10. I've seen a lot of hydroplaning on that interstate, and just so happened I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Took a hit. Sometimes you gotta take a hit. You gotta take a hit. Come on, Ray. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit closer to the coastline. I'm just northwest of Matagorda Bay. Probably have be close to a 3 to 4 foot surge out here, so we're going to try to mount it out there right at the tip of that barrier island, I hope. Hopefully we don't need a police escort down there. We just go to deploy it. It is Texas, so I think they'll just allow you to swap your rental down here. And they won't rescue you, of course, which I would never want to exhaust resources, rescue resources on Team Dominator. We're down here to help deploy instrumentation, use our experience to get out safely, and help out as well the best that we can. Not sure how this storm's going to be incredibly violent. It could be one of those slow motion disaster type storm chases where you just see a gradual accumulation of water and then suddenly you're going to be like, oh my god, that's a big time flood. Oh my goodness, there's a house floating down the river. There's that type of flooding. Coming into Matagorda County. I gotta figure out how to turn off that alert. Lane departure alert a lot when there's like 90 mile an hour wind gusts ripping by the vehicle. Yeah, this is a good vehicle, these 4Runners. I hardly felt anything during that accident. Rain's starting to get a little heavier as well. Probably Matagorda Bay, up through Houston and Lake Charles, the I-10 corridor. It's not going to be like Harvey where there are 40 to 50 inches of rain, but 10 to 15 is more than sufficient to cause life-threatening flooding. This guy's riding my ass. I'm going to try to get him to pass me. subsonic sensor right here. The most fine-scale barometer that's ever been deployed inside of a hurricane or tropical storm. Very high resolution with that subsonic sensor. Still waiting on that next advisory. Time is moving incredibly slow right now, it seems like. But I don't expect that it has intensified to a hurricane yet. I think that it really needs to couple with that convection a bit. Maybe the next center reformation could be the one that vaults it up to hurricane strength. Yeah, so we got to go all the way to that beach location and then deploy. Straight, Pierce. Yeah, it is going to be late when this thing arrives. We're starting to get some gusty winds already out here. Maybe as we get a little bit closer, we're already going to start to see some coastal flooding. Maybe about 30 minutes till the Surgeonator deployment. So I'm meeting up with Mike Scanlon to deploy the first Surgeonator. Maybe a little bit more widely spaced Surgeonator network this time. Matagorda, and then a little bit further northeast from there, and then maybe one a little bit further northeast from there. Maybe Galveston Island, who the hell knows? Could be further east. But I do know that the storm surge is going to be way off to the east of the center. So Galveston Island, Boulevard Peninsula wouldn't be bad spots for Surgeonator deployment either. And I'm providing some weather updates for AccuWeather as well. I've seen some people asking. So I've got some of my old AccuWeather gear on. Maybe it might be more like an hour. Hopefully the surge isn't already too high, but I figure I could be waist deep in water. Look at some of those creeks. The water's really low in those creeks right now, but those are the ones that are going to be especially upstream. This system is just going to basically be wrung out like a sponge over the Texas piney woods, and all that water is going to fall into those north-south rivers that flow toward the Gulf. Now, I don't really see this as a mass evacuation event. There probably are some evacuation orders, though, mandatory evacuation orders along the coastal areas, and it definitely is important to heed those evacuations because any tropical cyclone with onshore flow like that, those really low-lying areas can get life-threatening flooding with waves over top of it. And that's our goal, to capture that storm surge, measure it, stream the data live through the Surgeonator network. So I'm headed to deploy those right now. already had these things deployed this morning. I always seem to deploy right when the outer part of the inner core of the tropical cyclone is arriving. Yeah, you've got dry air and Corpus on the backside of the system. Dry air kind of carving it in half. But the eastern side of the system is going to get historic rainfall. Like a 10 to 15 foot rainmaker type of an event. Maybe some tornadoes embedded within. Not going to be a Harvey where you had 40 to 50 inches of rain, but if you have over 10 inches of rain, you're still going to get big problems. Dominator 4 is in the shop until the end of this week, so I got a lot of work to do on Dominator 4 still. I had to order some parts for the exhaust header, the new wheels, tires too, from all the punctures and everything from Hurricane Ida. So we are in a rental Dominator right now. To get a little bit of rain right now, so rental Dominator. Galveston too, all the way up there. Especially the center keeps reforming further north and east. We might even have a couple more center reformations even before landfall, so it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where the biggest surge is going to happen. I'm starting to see a little bit of flooding in the ditch over there. Pretty minor. Already pretty minor. Internet. Be right back.
Starting route to Matagorda. At the stop sign, turn right. In half a mile, take a slight right turn onto State Highway 35. Take a slight right turn onto State Highway 35, then turn left onto FM 1468. Use the left lane to turn onto FM 1468. FM 521.
Yeah. little bit of public work. Data signal's not great out here. Rain's getting heavier out here, and I think that's what this coverage is going to be. A lot of the theme of the coverage that you're going to see here is just going to be heavy rain. You're going to see non-stop rain here for days, a couple of days. 10 to 15 inch type totals in the swath from Matagorda Bay up through Houston, southwestern Louisiana, even in that swath. Ideal, or should go even further
At the
east.
stop sign, turn left onto FM 521.
Almost to Matagorda now, so trying to figure out the best area, best place to deploy.
In 8.6 miles, turn right onto State Highway 60.
Looks like it should go just west of us. Yeah, what a nice convective explosion on this thing, everybody. It does look like it is trying to intensify coming in, doesn't it? Here's my location. Dropping in. I'm about to deploy the Surgeonator network. Thinking about doing it out there on the Barrier Island. It's gonna get wet up here. Yeah, rainfall's gradually getting heavier now with this thing. Big river here. Big river. Might be far enough west to not have huge river flooding, but the area of the rivers out to the east I'm especially concerned about. I guess I'm also concerned about this river. Really anywhere in this area is going to be quite overwhelmed with 10 to 15 inches of rain. Storm chaser just blew by me there. Looks like they've got some instrumentation on the roof. Rain's definitely getting heavier. Doing good, everybody. Down here intersecting Tropical Storm Nicholas, wondering if it's going to make a run at hurricane intensity. Got a little accident earlier, fender bender on I-10. Someone hydroplaned into my car, but everybody was okay. That's the good news. That's all that matters. And now we're resuming the chase, and I'm dropping in to deploy the Searchinator network in the heavy rain. It's going to be non-stop heavy rain, basically, this event. I think we're going to get some decent wind in the inner core. If this especially has an eye wall structure on the northern side when it comes in, you get some wind gusts over 80 miles an hour. Pretty heavy rainfall coming in now. This is a rental Dominator that I'm in. Egret Island, here we come. Storm surge sensor about to be deployed.
At the next stop sign, turn right.
I wonder if there's going to be any period of dry where I can even get the bird in the air, but it is not looking like it. It's going to be just solid, heavy rain out ahead of the storm. Winds are getting a little gustier, so definitely more extreme conditions than what we deployed with Hurricane Ida, that's for sure. It seems like this thing's getting a little bit closer to the coast even. Hopefully I have enough time to deploy.
At the stop sign, turn right onto State Highway 60.
Should have plenty of time to deploy, I would think. Alright, time to make a smooth run at the coast now.
Turn left onto Market Street.
All right, everybody. Live deployment. Surgeonator network down near Matagorda Bay. Got to find the perfect deployment. It's going to be extreme rainfall that we're deploying in. It's not going to be a break like what we had with Hurricane Ida for deployment. Probably already a little bit of storm surge happening out there on Egret Island. That's the area that I'm eyeing for deployment of Surgeonator 3. Live streaming storm surge sensors. 2 to 4 foot storm surge is expected, but if it intensifies and organizes even more, then it could easily be a Category 1 hurricane, and then you're talking about a 4 to 5 foot type surge. I'm pretty close to Matagorda already, but starting to drop in toward Matagorda Bay to deploy the Surgeonator network here. Oh yeah, everything's fine. Had a fender bender earlier. The vehicle is still drivable, the rental Dominator. Easily drivable, so heading down to deploy the Surgeonator network right now. Egret Island out here. Heavy rain has already begun. I'd say moderate rain out here. Careful. I don't understand how these tires operate, these rental car tires, so I don't want to hydroplane either, which is why I was going so slow. Port Lavaca, that's where Mike Scanlon just was. He picked up some chicken tenders for me down there, down in Port Lavaca, so thanks, Mike. Mike, thank you. So the worst of the conditions are going to arrive tonight. It's going to be a nighttime landfall. Might make a run at hurricane. Last I saw, there was still a hurricane watch in effect. Hurricane Hunter aircraft are providing valuable data inside this storm. If that low-level center can couple with that convection, then it's going to intensify into a hurricane. But if it kind of stays sheared like it is, then it's just going to be a big, heavy rainmaker, which is still what the big problem is going to be with this. But there's going to be coastal flooding, flashing, river flooding. Anytime you have a tropical cyclone, it's like a sponge that's getting squeezed out. It's going to release all of its rain in the ditches there, some rainwater. Whoa. Find an area somewhere on the periphery of the bay, maybe even further up to the northeast. No, I'm in the path of it. Looks like right now this is going to head right over Matagorda Bay. So anywhere Matagorda Bay to the east is going to have a big surge, 2 to 4 foot surge. So I'm going to be looking for posts, docks, marinas, things like that. Maybe even palm trees somewhere to mount the Surgeonator network. It's got to have a station that's above the water level, and then the Surgeonator head goes below the water level that measures the pressure weight of it, the depth of the storm surge as it comes in. So that's our goal on this storm. Good training storm, at least for storm surge. It's as real as it gets, though, in terms of flash flooding, river flooding, and of course coastal flooding. Life-threatening surge expected, especially in Matagorda Bay. It's already pretty windy. Look at that. Already getting some tropical storm force winds. So mounting of this Surgeonator network is going to be pretty intense. Yeah, I could try the harbor. That would be ideal. I think the Barrier Island might be better. So I'm going out to scout right now. Going to check Egret Island, some of those Barrier Islands on the outer periphery of Matagorda Bay. But I agree, in the bay, that's probably where the water is going to accumulate the most, kind of the periphery of the bay. near the harbor, things like that. The canals. It's like I just froze. Never had that happen. Wind out here. Wow. Decent wind, everybody. Must be intensifying. It's gotta be. We're in the core of this convection nowadays. Already some flooding out here. This is Matagorda Harbor, though, which could be a good option for deployment. Getting a little windy out here already. It's going to be intense to deploy out here. Already getting some decent winds. Spotter. Looking left and right over this bridge for deployment opportunities. I agree, the harbor is a good spot. Got a little windy up and over this already. Not too bad. There's the channel, a little bit of a moat. Pretty long drive out to the barrier island out here, so it is possible that there could be some flooding already on this road, even up here. But I'm seeing good spots, even along this road, I think are good for deployment to measure storm surge. There's already some whitecaps and some wave action already out there, so those power poles aren't a bad idea. I'd like to get one out of the barrier island first. Already some whitecaps out there, but plenty of rooms until that surge comes up even further. But really, those power poles aren't a bad spot. Any marinas out here are good. Might get more shore parallel flow here too. Mike is thinking maybe we should pivot. Might have to go a little bit further north with that new track coming in, everybody. Thinking about a pivot up towards Sargent. Thank you, Josh. Starting to get some sustained winds. See, these are all good spots for surge deployment. Even some of these power poles anywhere along the canal, especially toward the end of tip of the canal. Some of these docks. Working that area here. Definitely see a little bit of surge out there, but boy, if it does come in a little bit further north, we want to be further north. That's where we want to deploy. Any of these power poles, though, would definitely measure a surge. Well, Tyler, I'm not sure. I'm heading out toward the barrier island right now to scope it. Yeah, this could be a flood zone. Already just a little bit of some tree branches and leaves down even. Be right back. A little bit of surge already. certainly don't want to miss this west. Surge, maybe. Yes. A little bit, not much. Very little bit. It does appear to be getting a little bit higher up.
Turn left onto Beach Road. In 1 mile, turn left onto Dunes Drive.
Looking for a place to deploy out here. See a couple of candidates.
Turn left onto Dunes Drive.
Do see some poles out here. There's a pole. Nice pole right there. Ooh.
In 3/4 of a mile, prepare to park your car near Dunes Drive. You will need to walk to your destination from there.
Getting windy out here, so probably got to deploy soon. thinking about that spot for deployment. Good run out there. Yeah, just got some sandblasting out there. Pretty good wind. Surprisingly strong. I'd say definitely sustained tropical storm at least. Got to figure out where to deploy now. Top priority. It's fun to stand out in the wind, but well, gotta figure out where to deploy now. Does look like we're about to get hammered here. There it is. We're back. It's running too hot. Temperature a little too hot. But we're back. Decide. Maybe Sergeant. Yeah, try to restart it. Hey, should we do one at the harbor here in Matagorda and then also at Sargent Beach?
Yeah, I think the harbor's hot.
What? What's that?
You have to go back up into the harbor to go over anyways, don't you?
Yeah, I think. Do you think that the harbor might get more surge than even the Barrier Island because of the dunes and stuff out here?
It might be far less to get the funneling, right?
I don't know. Do you think we should just go straight to Sargent Beach, or do you think we should deploy one at the harbor here?
Let's go take a look at the harbor.
How far are you from there?
I'm 30 minutes from you, so probably about 20 minutes or 15 minutes from us.
All right, I'll meet you at the harbor then. But we're starting to already get some surge out here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just enough?
Just a little. Yeah, I'll meet you at the harbor.
Copy that.
All right. Head back. Check some of the surge here, right along the immediate coastline. See? Maybe some surge out here too, a little further down the road. Looks like it's starting to almost move over the road here. It's getting up to the road at least. Might be covered in this location eventually. Yep, a little bit of surge happening. You could just mount it right on this stop sign and you might get some worse surge out there. already surging over here. Whoa. Probably time to deploy. Yeah, we got surge coming up. All right, we got to deploy. Time to deploy. Getting the battery out. spot! Just deployed the Surgeonator over there. Already deployed. to get a little bit of surge here. Matagorda Beach just deployed. There's the surgeonator sensor deployed. There's the station up top. Definitely surge coming over. I just got an update from Mike Scantlin that says that storm surge is starting to overtop the road. So we're either going to deploy the next location at the harbor or a little bit further northeast, closer to Sargent Beach. That's the next game plan.